welcome. We're so excited to have Green Hat Web Solutions here today, Fabiana Nardi and team, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. I'd like to introduce you, Brian. I'm the owner of Green Hat Web Solutions.
Hello, thank you for coming. And we are really excited. We're going to be doing several of these events once a month, at least, and we want to really make a positive force in the community here to help people gain the insights and the tools they need to make their business successful. Fabiana is a wonderful speaker. She's been doing training in Brazil for her whole career on human resources consulting. And so she's working with companies such as Unilever and Walmart, Johnson & Johnson down in Brazil, doing training for them. And so she is an expert when it comes to business organization, including the balanced scorecard methodology. So thank you for coming in today. Let's give her welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure for me to be here. So as he said, I'm from Brazil, from São Paulo. How many people here have been in Brazil? Where?
Rio de Janeiro and down in Santa
Santa Catarina, Rio de Janeiro. That's awesome. Do you like it? Good. Anybody else in Brazil? No? So I'd like to invite you all to go down to Brazil. And if you don't know, this week is Carnival week. So Carnival is coming this next Saturday. Put that in your bucket list. Because you shouldn't die without doing it, okay? So welcome. Before I start, I would like to talk a little bit about our series. So we joined forces with the Commons and also with other strategic businesses to put these workshops together for you guys. And the main idea when I decided to put this together is to give you some tools that I've seen while I was doing my consulting with big companies in Brazil, and I decided to adapt those tools to small and medium businesses. Since now, myself, I am an owner of a small business, I know how important it is to have some simple tools. And so this series is kind of your toolbox. So you can take tools out of your toolbox so you can use in your business. The first part of the series is the balanced scorecard. So everything that we are going to talk about throughout this series, we have as a background the balanced scorecard methodology. I decided to divide this into two parts. So today we are going to see the first part of, I'm just calling from now on BSC, okay? My life easier to talk here. So the BSC, I'm going to divide in two parts. The first part, we are going to talk about strategic maps and how to build those strategic maps. The second part will be March. And then in March, we're going to talk about how to define key performance indicators that we call KPIs. So these are mainly the two elements that we see in the balanced scorecard. Of course, we only have an hour and 20 minutes, so I don't expect you guys to be expert after this, but I do expect that you learn the main elements that I'm going to introduce to you. And if everything goes well, my objective is, if we have enough interest in learning deeper this methodology, I would like to offer a 4-hour workshop where you guys really can write down the balanced scorecard for yourself or for your company. All right, before I start, I would like to introduce one of our business partners, our strategic business partner, so Lauren. Laura is from Comcast, and she's also helping us putting this workshop together. So Laura is going to give a little bit idea of what Comcast business can do for you.
Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Very good.
Good. Well, I'm so happy to be here. So happy you guys are here as well. Again, Lauren Rosenberg, Enterprise Account Executive with Comcast. I've been with Comcast for almost 2 years and in telecom for about 6 years, and really passionate about just learning about all the industries within a small business and fully understanding the scope of how I can help implement technology and kind of do that discovery process. So I'm really happy to be here. And again, would love, I'll be here after, and I have some kind of handouts and information just on technology and having the right infrastructure to kind of support future growth. And because everybody knows everybody's going to the cloud. I mean, how many people can give me a definition about what the cloud is? Come talk to me. Yeah, but I mean, anyways, just in terms of having that backup security, having a place where you can replicate data, and it's in a private, secure space, and then being able to build or have a build that private infrastructure to connect to that. So yeah, that's all I have. But please feel free to come and talk to me. I'm not that great at public speaking, but yeah. So
All right, thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's start. So this will be a hands-on workshop I like to do. I think we learn when we do and we reflect. So I will just talking here about the main ideas of BSC, but I would like to invite you guys to create some parts of your own BSC throughout this process. In order to start that, I'd like to ask you a question. How many of you here already at this time in the year, you already have your strategic objectives for the year? How many of you show their hands? Strategic objectives. How many of you knows what strategic objectives are? Like, can you define strategic objectives, please?
So they're the bigger picture objectives that you're trying to achieve, that then you put your goals on. Is how we look at it.
It's your guide, right?
Yeah.
It's something that you aim for, and then from there you cascade every single thing that you do. This is what I would call strategic objectives. Are the big goals, right? Are those big ideas that by the end of the year you'd like to accomplish those goals. You'd like to check those out, right? Okay, having that definition in mind, I'd like to invite you to turn to a person that you haven't met yet, haven't talked yet, so let's do this a moment of networking as well. And ask this question to the person. So decide who's going to be A, who's going to be B. So A is going to ask, do you have strategic objectives to this other person? And if you do, how did you define those objectives? How was the process? Did you have a process for it? And when did you do it? Okay, so how, when? And if you don't have strategic objectives, not a problem. Okay? You're okay with that. You just have to explain why not. I'm sure there's some reason there why you still don't have those. So please, I'm going to give you 5 minutes for that exercise. Turn to somebody, have a talk, and start the conversation. Okay?
So, while people are talking, they can support the people to watch I can doing a slideshow, I can expand the screen so you can just see the slideshow. Or if there was if I wanted to expand that screen, or your split screen. Yeah, Feel free to grab.
All right. You guys can slowly come to the classroom. So let's talk about what happened here. How many of you? So, how many of you heard some strategies that people who are here today used? Can you shout out some of the strategies or the processes that you heard that people share with you? So, what did you hear?
So what I heard was self-reflection and introspection was a part of the catalyst to that how in the implementation of your soon due to be business. And then so what I saw in that is we have to change ourselves in order to have a business or to take that first step. For those goals, we have to be willing to do the work. And then the plan was going back to a time frame in one's life when you saw some things had changed. And so that helped to put on track in terms of where the objective and how we're going to get there was going to be. Will it may not have had necessarily concrete steps in between. We have kind of like a plan B. Here's where we are, this is where we need to be, and this is how we work.
So it's a way that we can maybe organize better our steps and also define priorities.
Yeah.
Okay, good, great, thank you. Who else would like to share what you guys heard? Don't be shy.
Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you.
I heard that my partner said that they had thought about strategic objectives in terms of the infancy stage. And And I like that she like has identified, like, it's not the forever objectives, it's just for right now, like where they are right now. And so I think that ideally will take away some of the pressure that we can put on ourselves. Like, oh, we have to figure it all out forever versus thinking about it in stages and then doing what's reasonable now, what we can accomplish now, and then ideally changing the objectives when we get to a different stage.
Okay, so maybe cut this big piece into smaller parts, so it's easier
Yeah.
to organize and to follow through. Okay, that's a great strategy. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Last one.
Like I mentioned, share the name. I think this would resonate with everyone. Just, I mean, it's a general thing with growth. And just connecting a number with it. So in 1 year, I want to, grow to X amount or make X amount of income.
Okay, so it's related with growth. I think so, right? Whenever we think about objectives, the main idea is how can
It's
we,
very different.
but it's true. I think it's true. Yeah, we're always thinking about growth. We are always thinking about how to increase whatever, like how to give the next step and go further, right? Thank you. So I'd like to write down here a few, just again, give me some words about why people usually, some of them, they don't define objectives. What are some of the reasons why for some people this is still so difficult to define objectives? Who can help me with that? Okay, so it's difficult to quantify. Okay.
I would say fear.
Fear?
Yeah, so when it comes to running your own business, you either sink or swim, and you swim or stand with you. So if you tell your spouse what your strategic objectives are, and you don't hit that, year over year over year, it can be difficult to reach strategic objectives at all.
All right. Fear of failure.
Yeah.
Fear, okay.
I'd say getting in there in the weeds.
So there,
Like in the weeds on a day-to-day basis, just doing the work.
routine.
Yeah.
Just to be in your daily routine and you just forget about it, you have to do that. Right? It's true. That's the thing.
Your comfort zone. That's
Your comfort zone. I like that. Your comfort zone. What about time? You have problems with time?
Yeah.
That was personal. Not personal. So tired.
lack of vision.
What?
Lack of vision.
Lack of vision.
So in terms of the steps to take to get to those goals.
How to get there?
Too complicated?
Too complicated, okay? Awesome. Well, fine. Definitely we could continue on and on here. I'm sure we have a lot of ideas about why we don't define sometimes our strategic objectives or why companies or our clients, it's so difficult for them to do it. And for me, and then my own experience is I need a tool. If I just sit there and start to plan from, on a blank page, that would be difficult for me. I am a very organized person. So having a tool that can help me with that process and follow through it, that makes my life more easier. This is what I've heard so many times before when I give this type of training, because it's what happens with us. We are in our routine. And nowadays we live in this what I would call distract economy. Would you agree with that? 24 hours we are distracted. So 24 hours we have our faces look at on the screen, and we don't stop to do some of this part. So having this scenario in mind, I'd like to bring at least one tool. Believe me, there are thousands of tools out there about how you can define strategic objectives, how you can put them in a way that you really can use them throughout the year. So far, this is my favorite tool. Like I've seen many tools before, but this one is the simpler and also the more holistic. You see that with this tool, you can really measure, just to talk about how this is to measure, you really can measure different perspectives of your company or your life, doesn't matter, because you can apply this for your life or your company. Okay? So before I dig into that tool, this is the overview. I forgot to give you this guy. So the overview for our series is, today we're doing the BSC part 1, actually, and then we have the part 2. I already have a date for that, so it will be March 29th. So this will be when you're going to continue our conversation. So if you would like to, you already can have that day scheduled. Then we are going to have a conversation about online marketing. And here we are going to talk about web analytics. This is one idea that we're going to have, how to use web analytics so you can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of your website. Then we're going to have a talk about finances, and this will be about personal finances, some tools that you can use to improve that. We're going to have a talk about legal and contracts that, as a small business, you should have in place. Then connective infrastructure. For that one, we're going to invite back Laura, and Laura is going to give you an idea what kind of infrastructure in relation to internet bands and everything that your cloud space that you need so your business can really grow. Finally, I will come back and I'm going to share with you my experience in HR in relation to talent management and leadership development. So this is an overview for you. Let's start talking about a little bit back to our scenario. What to expect when you don't know what to expect, right? The first issue that I would like to talk with you is about what happens with companies that they don't have strategic objectives defined. I found some interesting statistics here that show what happens. So the first one shows us that if you go to a company, I don't know about your experience, I'd like to hear, but whenever I step in a company and I ask, what are your objectives for this year in this company? Usually I get this blank face, like, what? Strategic what? Usually, if you talk with employees, they're so far away, right, from what's going on the top, that they don't know. They don't even know how their work impacts the bottom line of the company. They say, I'm just paid to do this, so I just do it, right? So the first problem that we have is people, they don't understand strategy. They don't even know why they exist in the company. The second one talks about how we can execute those strategies. And they say that 90% of those organizations, they don't execute. Guess what? They don't know that what the strategy is, how they're going to execute something that they don't even know that they exist. And finally, 70% of those organizations, they can link what they are paid for with the results and with the strategy. There is no relationship between those factors. So they're paid for something maybe completely different from what the shareholders would like to see happening in the company. So we need to find a way to link those three factors. So we need to link what the person does with what the strategy that the company wants to follow with the way that we compensate people in the company. If these three factors, they are aligned, probably you're going to see growth. You're going to see more results, right? Now let's change gears here and let's go to our perfect world. So the perfect world is we do have a strategic plan, we do have tools, and we know what those strategies are. In this world, we have, first of all, the BSC is used by more than 1,000 companies from the Fortune. So 50% of the Fortune 1,000, they do use BSC. This is why I thought it was such a powerful methodology, because it has been tested for so many years. And then for those companies who do use PSC, 80% of that said that PSC helped them with their operation. So they really could link strategy with operation, which was a gap that we saw before. And then finally, 66% of those organizations saw increment in their profits. So they saw the results linked with strategy. So we have here the three factors together, right? By the way, everything that you're looking here, we are going to upload our activities already in our website. So at the end, you can see the link. So you can go back there and see this presentation back again, okay? Okay, so look at the BSC. I'd like to tell you a story of a promised land. So let's everybody think about the promised land. So this promised land is very beautiful, okay? It's this map. And how can we get to this promised land? Let's look at our history and see how we used to live in the old world versus new world. Whoops, not new world yet. Over here. So how was our scenario in the old world? In the old world, there's some words in English. I told this over there. In the world, you have shown the money. What that means? Companies in the past, they used to be so focused on the financial side of the measurements. They would look only at the balance and look at what's going on in this balance, right? So everything was only looked through one perspective, and that perspective was finances. The problem with that is very limited, because when you look at the numbers usually will tell you what happened in the past, but usually they don't tell too much what's coming with the future. Because of that, but don't take me wrong, that was very good for the past, because usually in the past we would look at the era of industry, right? So goods, assets, this what was more important in that period of time. So of course, if you have a production line, you kind of know what to expect from that production because it's always the same. So you can follow and you can kind of think about what the numbers will be in the future. But the industrial area is gone, right? We live now in there are many names for our area: knowledge, information, service. So this is still part. So you always, the evolutionary process goes like this. You have a chaos, you have a restructure, and you have to integrate the step before, right? So you evolve and you integrate, you evolve and you integrate. So we are integrating this. So we still want to look at finances, but we need more. And in the past, as we talked about, there was no such thing as cause and effect. The employees, they were lost. That was our old world. Let's go to our future, or what we're living right now actually. Now we want, show me the cause effect. We still want to look at the finances, but we are going to add some pieces to it. We live in this service economy, which means that innovation is a key word. Every single person who works for your company, we expect them to be innovative, right? They need to innovate. And we need to balance now something that somebody said here, right? Is it? Difficult to measure because we're talking about intangible goods and assets. We are talking about knowledge, we're talking about services that are so difficult to measure. We need to find a way to add those pieces to our measurement process, into our strategy. And investors nowadays are looking not only your bottom line, but they're looking at your people, how happy they are, if you're sustainable, what kind of green process you have. We need to incorporate those pieces as well in this planning. And finally, we need to have both financial and non-financial objectives coming together in a way that we really can measure and follow up what's going on with those two factors. I like this. You only control the movement, right? You only control and prove what we measure. So we start from that. Any question in relation to this scenario? Something different? Something to add? Good? Cool. So let's go to our promised land. Welcome to our promised land. Imagine if you have a company that has all these measurements in place and they have these strategic objectives. How is it to live inside of this company? This is how it should be. People in this land, first of all, they know what the strategic objectives are. We know about that, it's important. They know how to communicate those objectives among them, not only between the board and maybe one level down, but they really know how to communicate among everybody there. And they know how to link everything, as we talked about the 3 factors. And finally, they're very happy because they're compensated by the results that they see in the bottom line of the company. They know the importance of their work for the company because it's written there, it's written inside of the objectives. Okay? So this is our perfect world, and we're trying to find a way to get it. Okay, let's finally look at our BSC. The BSC, first of all, there are tons of videos online that you can go. I separated the one that I like the most, so if you go to our website, you can find like a list of my favorite BSC articles and videos. The BSC, they was a tool, not a tool, a methodology created by these 2 guys here. Robert Cadman, he was I don't know if he's still, but he used to be a professor at Harvard Business School. And then he decided to join David Norton. He's a consultant, a strategic consultant. And together, they wrote this book. This is the orange of everything. This is the first book that talked about BSC. And this book was released in 1996. So it's been 20 years. Right? So it's not a new methodology anymore, but it's still usable. So let's continue to use it, right? Keep it. The BSC, let's divide it into 2 parts. There are the objectives that I'm going to show you and some key features that will create the BSC tool. For the objectives, we are looking at a tool that can align business activities to vision and strategy. This is why I like about this tool. Everything starts from vision, mission, and then we start to talk about strategy. After that, this tool should improve internal and external communication. It's a very easy way to tell clients, to tell the market what your company is looking for. So this will help you with all your marketing strategy as well. And finally, it's a good monitor to see how your business performance is in relation to your strategic goals. So put everything together. And this is how the tool is built. The key features are, first of all, I'm going to show you the map in a minute, but you see, it doesn't matter from where you start to read the map. If it's top down, bottom up, you can tell that it's the same story. So you can see the cause effect, which was the gap that we saw before in that old world. We didn't have a cause effect factor. And you include mission, vision, and strategic objectives together in the same map. We are going to see both hands, the financial hand and the non-financial hand, talking with each other. And finally, you are going to see a specific place to measure every single perspective that you would like to measure using the KPIs, the key performance indicators. Okay, these are the main factors that you're going to see. So let's zoom in to our BSC. BSC people, welcome BSC people. I'm going to introduce you to BSC. So this is our BSC strategic map. In the BSC, I'd like to break the map into its main parts. The first part here, you see we have the vision, we have the mission, we have what the big goals for that company that year are. Pay attention, I'm talking about 3 big goals, not 10, not 12. So the lesser big goals you have, the more possible that you're going to get those, right? And then you will still, for this example here, this company decided to define the headlines for each goal. So you can have this as your goal, or the name and the description, you do whatever is best for you. So this is our vision, right? Where I would like to get. Here, look, we have our values. So the whole map is supported by the values of the company, which is very important because the values are going to inform you how you're going to get there, which kind of behaviors we are going to promote, we are going to reinforce. And finally, in the middle, we have the main part of the BSC, which is this first part here, this first square is our strategic map or the strategy map, okay? The second part here, you see your key KPIs. It's the measurement, how you're going to measure that you are putting your strategy into action. And notice that this map is divided into 4 perspectives. We're going to zoom in each perspective so that you can understand a little bit better what we're talking about here. But the first perspective is your financial. Remember that we didn't throw away our finances, so it's still important. We're going to use that. So we are keeping the finance, and then we're adding those perspectives that in the past we lacked, right? So we have customer, we have internal processes, and we have organizational capacity, or in some books you are going to read this as learning growth, or you're going to read this as learn and innovation. So share it, there's a little bit to this last one that we really. So this is your map. This is the strategy, and you should read from up, bottom up, and top down. Because if you do whatever you decide to do for each perspective, the way to go up will get you your results. Okay, will give you the results that you expect. We are going to study this a little bit more deeper, so this is just a good overview of what's coming. Any big questions about this map so far?
So the idea is to create some kind of this structure for the business.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. This is, if you get to this at the end of your day, when you define your strategies and how you're going to measure those strategies, and you have completed your BSC. So the goal is your company or yourself has this BSC for every single person to look at. And from here, you can define what kind of projects we are going to put our priorities on. How am I going to compensate people based on this strategy here? So this is your basic guide. Okay, that's all you have to open up.
Yeah. Rather than increase profitability, what would you say for nonprofit?
Here, instead of increase probability,
Instead of,
right?
for a nonprofit.
For a nonprofit, what do you think is the main objective of a nonprofit or your nonprofit organization? What would be its service?
So increase service.
Increase the number, yes, I would say either could be fundraising here, because here is more related to the finance side of your organization. Although your organization is not looking for profitability, but definitely you need money, right? Definitely you need to diminish costs, definitely you need to increase the fundraising. So I would either use fundraising amount or total investment amount that you have. so then you can substitute for those.
If you, as an example, are over 2 P&Ls or 2 markets with different revenue objectives, would you recommend doing this for each?
That's a good question. Yes, the way that I've seen this before in companies like, I've done this together with Johnson & Johnson, for example, and they have different areas, different departments, different regions, everything, right? You would like to have a big PSC as a corporation and cascade that PSC or divide that PSC into department, into region, because ideally what you want is the sum of PSCs is equal the big one, right? Doesn't that sense? I think that's
So in response, you said what would you put in place of increased profitability? From a recent meeting that I had with a loan officer from First Bank, she said that with nonprofits, one of the things that they look at when giving loans is they look to see, does the community value that nonprofit? And so I think by creating value within the community will then trickle into increasing profitability, because people are going to give to what they see as value.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and you can have that here. For you, Dorothea, maybe instead of customer, you are going to have members, right? Because we're not going to talk about customers, but we're talking about members and the value of members for your organization. How can we increase that value, right? Okay, thank you. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit in the perspective so we know what kind of questions we can ask to define those circles for perspective. The first one is finance, and the question here is, how do we look to the shareholders or to the community or to the people who support my organization? These are the most common ones, but of course you have many others. But this is some of the ideas of what kind of strategies you want to see for finance. Okay, so we're talking about profitability, growth, revenue, cost. Usually you go around those. For customer, how do customers see us? So exactly what you just said. So do I want to increase the perception, the satisfaction, the cycle that I attend a customer? So what is going on right now that I need to improve in relation to customers? So is it quality, is the service, and then you can have strategies for each of them. Remember, you don't want tons of strategies. You want to pick the best ones, the ones that are really right now give you the most problems. Have you heard about Pareto's law? 80-20? Who can explain what an 80-20 is?
That 20% of your customers generate 80% of the revenue.
Exactly, right? So looking at that result can inform you what kind of strategies I should be looking in this perspective. So it's not every single thing, but the 80-20. So what are the 20? And when I say 20, in this case, we're talking about customers, but you can apply that for whatever perspective, right? 20 processes, 20 numbers that I want to find there, or 20 skills, behaviors that I want to motivate my employees, that is going to give me the 80% result, right? For processes, the question is, what must we excel at? Usually you're looking at productivity, time of service, your cycle time to deliver the service or the product. So here you're looking at your internal processes in general. And finally, we have people and innovation. For people and innovation, how can we continue to improve and create value to our customers, to our members? And these are some of the areas that you would like to look at. Your innovation process, how is that going on for you? How much more technology you need to bring to your company to grow? Skills, learning, development. So how is your training matrix right now here? Do you have the right training going on? So those are the training that is going to make you grow. So those are some of the other questions. And then going back to our strategic map, Let me explain a few more things here. Here's the perspectives. Note that this is a very general map, of course, right? So we can use for whatever you want. Look how we write objectives here, or strategies. You see that we always have an action verb plus a noun. You always should start a strategy or objective with an action verb. Why? Why do you think we need to have an action verb here? Oh, thank you. Look. Yes, but mainly because you can measure. Imagine if I say, think about a new process to develop a new service for a customer. All you're going to measure, think about, right? You need something that I can tell you did it or you didn't. So you always start an action verb. So you can always use increase, lower, improve, implement, release, right? So always try to write your objectives and strategies with those. The leading question when you read your map from top down is how? So let's use the question here. Let's say that I want to increase profitability. I want to increase my profit. The leading question is how? How do you want to increase profit? Oh, by lowering costs or by increasing revenue. And then you continue the conversation. Okay, this answers my questions for finance. Let's go to customer. How can I lower costs? How can I increase revenue in relation to customers? Oh, by lowering your wait time or the customer's waiting time, or by improving customer retention, for example. Oh, good, great. How can we lower wait time? Oh, you can lower wait time when you look at the process by lowering cycle time or by increasing process efficiency. And then finally, our last question is how am I going to increase process efficiency? When I look at my people, my training, my organization development, or by improving knowledge and skills. Of course, we're going to be very specific here. This is generic, right? By improving tools and technology. So this is how we can see the cause effect in your strategy. If you go bottom up, then you just have to use the question if then. So if I improve my knowledge in this, then what's going to add to my process? What's going to add and help this other process here? If I improve these processes, so how the customer will feel that. And if I have more customers and my customers are more satisfied, how? If then I'm going to have lower costs, more revenue. Does it make sense how we read this here? It's okay? Any questions about reading the map? No? Just for curiosity, how many of you have seen BSC before? 1, 2. Okay, good. Very good. Now that you see here, are you sure you don't have questions, right? Wow, good. One question here.
Just follow. Is that something that we do every year, or is this really long-term strategy?
That's a great question. Yes. There are two ways that I've seen before. You can have a BSC for 2 years or for 3 years, and then you can break those 2 to 3 years into the year and prioritize what actions from here you're going to implement year 1, year 2, year 3. But you can, as a small medium business, I would say I would have one per year. Or at least I would review the map once per year. Because what we do, by the way, we use BSC in green hat, okay? Usually I walk the talk. So in green hat, what we usually do is the beginning of the year, we look at what happened last year, and we decide what kind of actions we should continue, have those actions, strategies in our BSC, or what kind of strategies we accomplished last year, so take them out and bring new ones in. So, okay? All right, so look, this is another example. Sorry, this one's a little difficult to read, but it's the same idea. Look how this company, they divided the BSC into two paths. You can be as creative as you want with BSC, right? You can have different paths for different type of strategies. They would like to have one path towards efficiency and another path towards growth. Some companies, they add here sustainable measurements, right? Because they want to show people that we are a sustainable company. So you can have here a path just for sustainability as well, okay? And you can divide the process here by department too. So you can have some actions going on here that goes to the marketing department, others go more to the service, to the production, okay? So the BSC can be very flexible and you can use in different ways, but it's always the main idea, the main concept. Okay? Guess what? It's the moment test, okay? It's your turn. So please I give you some handouts. So if you can look at this handout here, the one with the strategic map. You have your model here. This is the template. Look back. Oops. You have your own BSC to start with. Okay? I'm going to give you 5 minutes just to start thinking about it. Of course, I told you that's not a complete BSC course here in 1 hour and a half, right? So start to think about it. At least try to have your, I'm talking about priorities. Let's start with your main goals, okay? Your strategic goals should be on the top, on this 3. If you have more than 3, pick your favorite 3. If you have less than 3, no problem. And then define which way you'd like to go, which is easier for you to think about. For some people, it's easier to go top down, and for others, it's easier to go bottom up. There is no right or wrong here. So start going, and I would say just create at least one circle, one strategy by perspective, if you can. Okay? And then we're going to talk a little bit about this. And if you have questions, raise your hand. We go there. You can look at this example if you want to make this. What is it?
That's good. So now it starts to get some question. You can go from water and so what kind of skills
I'll give 1 minute more, and if you haven't finished the problem, you can try as a homework for today. right, so would like to say, what kind of challenge are you facing when you try to complete your math? What's challenging about doing it?
Staying realistic to what's really going on around you.
Realistic. Okay. So that's it. You say you were going to say something?
I was going to say, when I start thinking about customers, there's three different kinds of customers for the same product. There's, in case of this particular nonprofit, there are people who are actually doing the service provider for other nonprofits. There are the adult learners who want to learn to speak English. There are the volunteers who want to tutor those adults.
That's great. So the way that you can do in this case is either you can have a big circle, say improving members' satisfaction as a big circle, and when you move to the other side that you're not going to see today, but the other side where it's how you're going to measure, then in the measurement you segment per customer or per member. So then you can have a measurement for each of type of client or customer you have. So you can choose, if you want to have more circles on the strategic map, you can add those there. If you want to have a big one, more generic, and then when you're going to measure, then is when you create the segments, that's okay too. So, okay. What is another challenge that you guys have?
Balancing out the need for a certain amount of revenue with certain kinds of interests in terms of the kind of people or the kind of work one wants to do.
So how divide the revenue per type of people or clients?
But also to balance out,
The
there
balance.
are certain kinds of clients you want to serve more of, and other clients you want to serve less of, and also try to maintain the same revenue while doing that.
Yeah, and that can be your goal is exactly to study how am I going to, what kind of process I should be offering for this client A that I shouldn't be offering to this client B because it's not profitable for me. So that can be one of your strategies is to create those processes, for example, and then you can add to the process line, for example. Any other challenge?
Maybe kind of what she said and some of the others too, balancing things. I have like a kind of a established pipeline, so to speak, and looking at what my objectives is to expand beyond that. And I feel a fear of neglecting what's worked in the past. Right? And it's kind of a whole exercise of putting myself outside of my comfort zone and just do enough that it's I think that's difficult thinking these terms. So this is a new way of thinking, so I feel like a little bit of resistance to sort of abandon what works. So
I knew it. It is a different way of looking at different perspectives at the same time. Usually we're so focused, or we have a tendency to look through one favorite perspective, right? Either it's customer, either it's finance, but when you are obligated to look at through all these different perspectives, then you really need to start to think a little bit more out of the box. All right, and my other question for you in relation to the exercise is, how did this exercise help you to think about strategy in a different way? How did this exercise give you some insights?
For me, we always want to grow and have more, profits, but it's saying how do all these things connect to being able to get more profit? We always increase customer satisfaction, put new learning processes in, but how are those directly related to the thing next to it to get us to that profit?
So the path.
Yeah, what is the actual path versus this big long list of everything going to be better?
Yes, this is so important what you said. You don't want to see every single thing you need to do here. This is not an action plan, right? These are the big goals, the big strategies that you want to accomplish. Otherwise, it's possible that we create this crazy list of 50 measurements, 50 actions that we need to do, right? So yeah, good. What else? What kind of benefits you found by doing the exercise?
Deciding the priorities, having so many objectives. So,
Now set
deciding which
priorities.
ones are strategic.
Yeah. Yeah. Last one?
It really does help focus on things that are important. This is something you might want to write on the mirror in the morning, so you know why you're getting up.
Yes. It helps. It helps a lot for us to really see through the priorities and which ones we want to accomplish and which ones we want to communicate with others. This helps you to have the same view of what we need to accomplish. It's much easier when you bring people boards in your company. Imagine it's showing people this and say, these are the big goals for us this year. How easy is it to align everybody and put everybody side the same boat, right? Great, so I'd like you, if you have time, to finish your exercise at home while everything is fresh in your mind. And if you have a question, please send me emails. I'm more than glad to help you. Send me a photo or the PowerPoint, whatever you wanted to send me. I can look at it. I can help you to build that BSC for you too. And also, if you go online and you just Google BSC examples, because I did, there are tons of examples to give you some ideas how to build your own. So I would do that too. Let's look to finish here. Let's look at the other side of the BSC that I told you. We have two main sides, the strategic map and the KPIs, right? So now we're looking at the KPIs. So once you have your strategic map, you are ready to move to the KPI session. And the KPI session, which is this one, may look and vary, each company creates their own, right? But this is the one that we, for example, use for Green Hat. It's very simple. You can have it in Excel. That's what I did. And then how you're going to do it, for each perspective, you're going to translate each those strategies from the map into ways of measure those strategies, okay? And the columns that you should have in the generic KPI matrix is objectives, and objectives should be SMART. You know the SMART objectives, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, timely, SMART. Oh, I think so. Oh, they are. Oh, relation. Yes. So they should always start with, an action verb or something related to that too. Then you have how you're going to measure it, right? The way you're going to measure it. Then you have your target, what you want to accomplish. This target can be per year, per semester, per whatever. Year to date, how well, how not well you are. And this is what I like the most. Is your dashboard. Is your control panel. So you really know where you should focus on. You remember that we talked about priorities and how we should prioritize things. This is a visual way to really very fast show people where we should put our attention for the next period. And finally, for each of these measurements, you should have initiatives to help to get where you would like to go, right? So you don't want to have a lot of lines here. You don't want to go crazy with each of perspective. You should pick the 3 or 4 best way of measuring your strategies from the strategic map. Okay? You don't need to be so concerned right now about this, but we are going to learn more how to do it in our BSC part 2. So please come back. We have this for you for BSC part 2, so you can complete your BSC. And finally, once you have the strategic map, once you have your KPIs, you are ready to communicate every single thing with everybody. And how you can communicate that? I've seen very creative ideas of doing that. You can start with your intranet. Of course, you should have that in your intranet. You should have that on boards. You should have that, everything communication, your monthly newsletter, doesn't matter, you should have that there. But also I saw a company that they created this very small piece of paper with their strategic map, and then they put inside of a pen in a way that you could open that small piece of paper and look at the strategic map. So you had the strategic map on your hand all the time. So clients and the new employees, they would love to have that pen with them because they always knew what the strategic map was. So people can go, they can be very creative about how to communicate those things. And then finally, after communicating, it's time also to cascade, to divide those big objectives that we were talking about into each department, each employee. Do you agree that now it's easy to do that? Is it easy?
Yeah.
The idea is easy. Maybe the process is not. But once you know your big goal and how much you want to accomplish, now you have to simply divide that per department, per employee. So each person in the company should have a small piece and should know that he or she has this small piece that's going to contribute with the big goal. It's important to add those small pieces into the personal development plan. Not a lot of companies, they have people that the employees, they have their own personal development plan, but for those companies that they do, please add the strategic objective in the personal development. It's the carrot. Remember the carrot? How motivate people? This is your carrot here. And if you want, you can review your whole process of compensation based on those objectives. So you can better define bonus, you can better define promotion, so that can give you some guidance how to either work with your HR person. If you do everything correctly, welcome to our promised land. You landed there. And this is my challenge for you. You guys have 2 small cards in your package or in your handouts. Please get those for me. Okay. There is one that says mine on the top of it. Accountability card mine. And the other one doesn't have the mine. This is how we are going to use this. You're going to turn to a person by you. Can be somebody that you know, but I would recommend you somebody that you don't. And you're going to promise something that you're going to do within the next month. Why? Because in 1 month, exactly March 22nd, that person is going to either call you or send you an email saying, hey, did you do what you promised me that you were going to do on February 22nd? Usually, how human beings are. We only do stuff when you promise to another person, that gives her more accountability, right, to do something. So, complete this like this. 1, it's the name it's your name that you're going to give to the person. It's the one that doesn't say mine. This is the one that you're going to give away to the person, okay? Complete with your name and your objective, your action. Just one action. And that action can be very simple. Can be just, I'm going to watch videos about that. Yes, or I'm going to read an article, or I'm going to create my own PSC, okay? And the other paper, the other card, you're going to keep for yourself so you can remember, right? So you don't need to complete with your name. And then you guys are going to exchange those papers, okay? Questions? Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes to do that so you can exchange those cards. if you haven't done so, you can start to exchange, and if you need to explain to the person what the action is. I think Todd, do you need somebody? Yeah. I think you got it.
Yeah, so yeah, so it's sort of breaking our own states. You know where I want to go.
Okay, people. So before I open for a few more questions and answers, I'd like to extend this feedback for you, the feedback form. Of course, you have the regular feedback part, but I would like to explain a little bit about the bottom part. If you can please give us some ideas about what kind of needs you have right now in relation to strategic planning and organization, because that will help us to create content for our following workshops here. And also, what kind of needs do you have right now in relation to internet marketing and web development, because that also will help us to create the content for our following workshops. And on the bottom, you see that we are offering a 30-minute free consultation for whoever would like, you just sign there, then we can contact you. So you can either use that 30 minutes to talk about this, or to talk about other organizational problems that you're facing and you need somebody to talk with. And also web development, internet marketing. So you're offering that 30 minutes free consultation. So let me know, then I will be sure that I'm going to connect with you. And the last one, if you would like to sign in, we can use your comments so we can promote this workshop more. And if you are interested in participating in our email list, so you know when the next ones are coming. By the way, if you do that, if you give us this feedback form filled out, we are going in a minute after the question answers to draw 2 prizes as a way to say thank you for guys to come. And the 2 prizes that we have here today is, one is from Green Hat, is a $15 Panera Bread, and the other is from Comcast. Thank you, Comcast. We have a Bluetooth speaker here from Comcast. So the other form, give to Skip. Can you help me to? Yeah. So Skip on the back here, he's going to help me to get those forms back, and I'm going to select the winner soon. And while you guys fill out that form, I'd like to just open for some questions. If you still have some, we'll be around for a few minutes more. If you would like to come and talk with us, we're around. And the link, thank you for that. It's here. If you go to rehablabs.com/events, you are going to find every single thing that you saw today, and the links to articles, videos, and examples of ESC. Yes?
Gotta earn my keep.
You're going to find the sample. Yes. Yeah, the templates are here too, so if you go there, you can find the templates. Yes.
I would be interested, I'm sure it's on the web somewhere, that time, yes, non-business, like running a household or personal development.
Yes, definitely we can work on that. Yes, that's important.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, good question. So, here you're going to find that I think there are also links to some apps. Of course, there are apps for it. Of course, you have to pay for them too. So, there are some apps out there that you can use to create your own BSC. So, yeah, some of them are free, but the ones that I saw free, they're not that good. But you can start with those. Do we have all the forms with me? So like we can, not yet? Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit more. Stay here, okay? Just look around because I'm not going to give the price for not here. I don't want to put that in the picture.
When they used to advertise the office.
Well, there was, you could buy
food.
Subscribe to, yeah.
And as a way just to close what we talked, I just would like to hear, shout out some feedback about our meeting today. How did you like this meeting today?
Follow. Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't even,
The visual.
That's good. Okay,
I'm glad. I'm glad. Do you have?
Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome.
One more? Everybody? Oh, this is good. Oh, somebody put this. Okay. Oh, this is your, you can. Oh, I think I'll take it all. You can double too. You need the one, picking one of the 11. Okay, are you guys ready? Cross your fingers. Should I just remember those times? Okay. So the first prize, which is our Panera Bread that was here, is Panera Bread is going to Randy. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, last meeting. Is there a way to do this? I don't know. Okay. Bottom one. Okay. Bottom. So this speaker is going to Dorothea. Oh, so you don't, okay, never mind. She said that she's blocking. Thank you. So let's, oh, you have yours?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, let's put it here. Oh, thanks. Okay, the last one again, so let's try that again. Here we go. If not, it's your chance. Okay, the next one goes to Adrienne. Oh, yay! All right, guys, that's it. Thank you again for coming. I hope to see you next month. Thank you.
Yes, we're in Brian.
Oh,
Shauna,
you guys should know that.
yeah, right. We've been working for a long time. Okay, good. So then you're down there like this.
I moved my office for you guys.
Oh, you live on, oh, you used to live right around there. You used to live on Mexico.
Oh, really? Yeah, there you know the suburbs.
Now we're actually, now we're in Florida.
Okay.
We do enjoy it. She loves this kind of stuff.
She's really good. I love it. I mean, I thought the class was so exciting. I got a little lost.
Good.